Hiya, and welcome back to Tennis Ace, the game that teaches us that apparently I will have a mental breakdown every 5 minutes while playing this game. I swear to God, if Yuichi says no to June, I will cry. Like, I will genuinely start crying. Like, I'll just... Anyways, let's just hop right in. Yuichi better give him an answer soon. That's just mean! Leaving us behind like that. I wasn't just going to wait around for those two to stop fighting. Once the machine gets going, it keeps spitting out balls until your turn is over at regular intervals, so I can't let myself get very distracted. You should probably go get a token too if you want to play. Fine, but I'll get back at you for this later. I'll be waiting. June runs to the front desk with just as much urgency as he ran towards me. At least he seems excited. Hopefully he'll have a good time. I keep batting for a few minutes until my first 10 balls end. I could use the rest of my tokens right now, but I decided to check up on June since I know he's never done this kind of thing before. When I get to his cage, I see him wearing a helmet that is clearly too big for his head, swinging and failing to make contact with the ball. How many was that? Ah! Hey! You surprised me! I just talked to you. You did the same to me when I got started and you didn't hear me complaining. I haven't hit a single ball yet. Your form isn't very good. Bend your knees a little more. Like this? Yeah, that's good enough. Now when you start your swing, focus on using your hips more than your shoulders. You're barely using your hips at all right now. I'll try. A ball flies at June and he swings once again. It barely makes contact with the bottom edge of his bat, flying nearly straight down to the floor, but hey, contact is contact. I did it! Good job. Now you're getting the hang of it. How many balls do you have left? That was the last one. Here, I'll put another token in for you. Keep going. What? But I can just go buy another one. You're doing well right now. If you take a break now, you might lose focus. Just trust me on this. Alright. I continue giving him pointers on how to properly swing and how to improve his form. I end up using both of my remaining tokens on this, mostly because I'm just having a lot of fun watching him try his best. June listens to me diligently, and by the end of the third token, can already hit most of the balls semi-decently. Oh, you're talking about the owl house. Okay, so I was laughing my ass off like 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes ago, I was laughing my ass off because of this tweet that Dana Terrace released. She posted a tweet that said, "Fun owl house fact. Originally, no palismen were going to be hurt, and thanks to them. This changed one morning while still in the early stages of the episode after a bird shat on my car." Let me just pull it up, because I fucking died when I read it. Dana Terrace Twitter. I fucking died. Like, I was like... Star was in the room. She was like, oh god. Oh god. Like, okay. Here we are on the Dana Terrace Twitter. Let me try and find it, because I fucking died. Where is it? Where is it? Ah! 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 Why? I can't find it. Nah, we're not doing chord progressions tonight. I'm gonna let it rest a little bit. I'm gonna let chord progressions rest a bit. We're not doing one tonight. An hour later, after we've said our goodbyes to the rest of the group, June and I began to walk home together. The sun has already fully gone down by this point, and the streets in our neighborhood are pretty deserted. Then again, most workers have already gotten home by now, and this is a pretty quiet neighborhood to start with. Ow! My whole body is sore. Yeah, swinging a baseball bat for a while takes it out of you. I really wonder why Shoichi-san and Mizuguchi-san couldn't come with us, though. No silly fox tonight. I don't know either. They haven't said anything else to me all day. I tried messaging both of them to ask if something was going on, but I got no answer other than them declining to go out with us. I admit it's got me a bit worried. Hopefully there's nothing bad happening and we'll all be able to get together on Monday. Don't forget that club activities will start over again next week, so we'll all have practice again. Alright. Do you think we could go out together on the weekend then? I can try asking, but I don't know if they'll come. I'd appreciate it if you did anyway. Sure, I'll let you know if they answer me. If they say no, how about you just come over to my place? You wanted to watch me play piano again, right? Oh yeah, I forgot I said that. I'd be happy to put on a little show for you. Then we could go out and do whatever it is you want. June's tail brushes up against my backside, quickly touching the back of my thighs and rustling against my own tail. I feel embarrassed by the touch, but I don't mind it. I'm starting to warm up to it, I think. We reach the front gate of his house, signaling the end of our little adventure through the neighborhood. We both stop, looking at the lights of the house for a few seconds before speaking again. I don't get the joke. Alright, here we are. I've delivered you safe and sound. Thank you! I'll talk to you later, okay? Of course. I watch June unlock his house and step inside. Once the door is closed behind him, I begin to walk away myself. June 12th, Monday, day 24. Today, for some weird reason, I woke up feeling a little different. Even though mornings don't come to me very easily, I woke up today feeling light. I was even humming a few songs while I got ready for school. When I stopped to think about it, they've all been songs that I heard June playing on the piano. This entire thing feels so very unusual for me. Usually I'm the type to set up multiple alarms in 5-minute increments just to make sure I don't cancel one and end up waking up late. And I have no shame in saying that I usually always cancel the first few alarms. But today, I don't know why that happened. I woke up half an hour before my first alarm feeling pretty good, actually. I've been in a surprisingly good mood lately, but I still could never shake off that feeling of permanent drowsiness. No matter how much sleep I get, I'm always tired and wanting more sleep. I suppose one could just say I'm lazy. I got used to dealing with it when I was younger and was surprisingly active back then. At the very least, no one could really tell that deep down I was a lazy child. But as my motivation tanked in the last few years, I've gotten more and more lazy to the point that teachers began referring to me as a problem child. That thought on its own is already kind of bizarre when I think about my experiences in my old school, but once I've gotten used to it, I didn't even bat an eye. I suppose I might have just become apathetic towards my own situation. I can't really pinpoint the reason why, but my attitude started to change very slowly once again. I wasn't quite sure when it was that I began looking forward to facing my daily routine again. But recently, after being forcefully made aware of one fact I hadn't noticed until now, my perception started to change. I still don't get it. It was right after I met that clumsy, silly tiger that my outlook began to change once again. Once I became aware of that fact, I started feeling really uncomfortable. First of all, how could someone change my life that much without me realizing? Even if I was just keeping an eye on him because I felt like he was some kind of helpless stray kitten that I need to take care of. The reality is that little by little, I saw myself getting more involved in his life. Oh, okay. Watching him rehearse, going to his piano competitions, playing games together, meeting his family, helping him study, going out with all on my own. It was right around that time that I first met June that I felt myself being jolted awake and becoming active again. Until then, I was just happy spacing out in class or even skipping it entirely to laze around on the roof. Going straight home right after class was over, not putting much effort into anything. Hell, I'd only go out with my friends if they went through all the trouble of organizing group outings and dragging me over to them. I didn't even realize how much they were having to coddle me for us to keep it all in contact until just recently. When I think back at it, I feel a pang of guilt welling up in my chest. I really need to apologize at some point for being so self-absorbed. I didn't even know what kind of trouble they'd been going through because I kept pulling away without even realizing. I truly am a shameless person. Even as I'm thinking these thoughts over to myself, I can't help but think that this degree of introspection is really unlike me. Which is a problem in and of itself. I can't keep complaining that June lacks self-awareness and then being completely oblivious myself. That's just hypocritical. Hell, it wasn't even until last week that I realized just how rough I can be when speaking to other people. Having to be lectured in public for saying unnecessary and hurtful things. What am I, a child? And as I was stuck thinking these weird thoughts before I noticed, I had already gotten myself ready and arrived to class way earlier than usual. Of course, I spent quite a bit of time spacing out by myself in my own desk. I suppose old habits die hard. I kept fidgeting absent-mindedly, constantly looking over to the chair next to mine and waiting for a certain tiger to arrive. God, how pathetic am I? Do I really need June to be here to do anything at all? It's good to think over my own behavior at times, but I really don't want to get stuck thinking things like this all morning. It makes my head hurt. So I need to find some kind of way to distract myself. It shouldn't be too hard. Most of my classmates are here already, or at least the ones that I have any kind of interaction with. They're spread around in their own groups. I suppose I could just insert myself in one of them and go from there. It's not like it'd be hard. Even if we don't talk often, I like to think that I have a positive relationship with most of them. Which one? Whoa, Kyoko-san is talking to Victor? Now that's an unusual pairing. I wonder what's going on there. What about Paris? What about Paris? When I get closer to the two, I notice Vic frowning and sighing a lot while the cat chats with him excitedly. She seems to either be oblivious or not care about his discomfort. Either way, when I get close enough to overhear, I see that the two are talking about France. Is it as glamorous as people say? They do call it the city of love after all. I don't know. I've never been to Paris. What? How can you not? Aren't you French? Just because I'm French, that means I need to have gone to Paris? Well, yes! Of course it does! Does that mean you've been to Akihabara? To what? If Paris being a popular touristic spot means that I need to have been there to be French, then surely that means you've also been to all the popular tourist spots in Japan, right? How's Mount Fuji? I haven't been to Mount Fuji either. Really? Why not? Aren't you Japanese? The cat pouts, shooting the fox a dangerous glare which seems to bounce off of him completely. In fact, he seems far too annoyed to care. Hey there, you two. Is this a bad time? Ah, hey there, Yuichi. No, you're just fine. I'm trying to learn more about France from him, but he's being super unhelpful. You just walked up to me and said, France, huh? How else am I supposed to start a conversation? The fox rubs the bridge of his snout, sighing. You know, just because I'm French doesn't mean we have to make the conversation about France. But that's the only thing no one else in here is able to talk about. You're the only person in this entire school that's from there. It's not the only interesting thing about me, you know. The fox sighs, sounding more and more defeated by the passing second. He shoots me a pitiful look, almost as if he were asking me for help. I don't really mind inserting myself into the situation, and I'm more or less familiar with how the cat thinks at this point, so it's not really a big deal. Hey, Nekonishi, why are you so interested in Paris anyway? Why wouldn't I be? It's a city of love, fashion, gastronomy, art, and culture. It's the most interesting place in the world! Wow. I'm not one to usually say this, but that is such a basic girl thing to say. Well, I've never been there, and I came to Japan because I'm interested in Japan. I didn't come here to talk about France. But, by the way, Vic-kun, you came here all on your own, right? Your family didn't come with you? He nods, his face relaxing slightly and smiling with a little relief at my rather forceful change of subject. Yes, it's a little hard to adjust living alone for the first time, but I have to say I quite enjoy the experience so far. Don't you get lonely? A little, but the people here in school have been really kind to me. They invite me to hang out quite often, and I don't have to sulk on my own at home. Speaking of sulking, I can see with the corner of my eye that Kyoko is totally glaring at me right now for stealing her conversation partner. I feel a little bad, but I don't really want her annoying the fox either. Poor guy looked super uncomfortable. See, Nekonishi? If you just ask questions, you can find out a little more about him. Don't need to force him to talk about things he doesn't want to talk about. Now, could you please stop glaring at me? It's kind of making my skin crawl. She shoots me one last murderous look and walks away in a huff, not even bothering to say farewell. Victor and I are both left staring at her, probably feeling similar levels of confusion over the entire ordeal. What was that? I have no idea. She had just approached me all of a sudden and started asking about France. How long was she bothering you for? Probably 5 minutes. Felt like a lifetime, though. She wouldn't take my attempts to disengage seriously. That is so weird. I wonder what's gotten into her. I don't know. Other than her barking orders at me during the preparation for the festival, I don't remember her even saying 2 words to me. Well, I wouldn't worry too much about it anyway. I've known her for a while and I still don't understand that girl. Is she always like this? No, that's the weird part. She's usually haughty, sure, but she tends to be a lot more reasonable. I wonder what's gotten into her. Still, thanks for the save. I feel like I was going to have to deal with that until the bell rang. It's not like it would have lasted very long anyway. Bell rings in 10 minutes. That would have meant the already uncomfortable conversation would have been 3 times longer! I mostly just came over because I was bored and curious over how the two of you had gotten to talking, so it's not like I had anything better to do. Really? We can hang out for a bit if you want. I have nothing better to do as well. I was thinking of going over to Jin and Ryoji as well anyway. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Although I do have to ask, how come you came over to talk to us in the first place? Is June not around? No, he hasn't arrived yet. Why do you ask? The fox shrugs. Usually you just hang around him and not really bother talking to other people. At least that's the impression I've gotten since I transferred here. I suppose you might be right in a way. I have to admit, I was a bit surprised when I found out he'd only transferred here a few weeks before me. How come? Ah, fuck! 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 I accidentally spilled ginger ale on my fucking laptop. Fuck! 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 I don't know, it's still working. I don't know, it's pretty clear that it's still working because, you know, the stream is still up. Stream is still up, so obviously my laptop is still working because I just do everything on my laptop. How come? It's just that you two are so close to each other. Seems like you've known one another for so long. Is that so? Ew, now my keys are sticky. Well, what's with that look on your face? You look like you sucked on a lemon. It's really awkward being called out on stuff like this. Especially when it's something I've only started to notice recently myself. It's nothing. Just caught me by surprise, that's all. Huh. If you say so. You don't need to look at me so suspiciously. Kind of surprised, though. I never really stopped to pay much attention to it, but ever since the festival, I've been realizing that a lot of people are really fond of him. Of course, he's really friendly, always cheerful, doesn't discriminate, is fun to watch and very amusing. Why wouldn't he be popular? It's weird to see you talk about him like that. You almost make him sound like he's the class mascot or something. Hey, I hadn't thought about it that way. It does seem like he is. I know I've thought of him as our group's mascot before, but it's just weird when other people say it out loud. Honestly, I wish I could hang out with him more often, but you already hog him most of the time. I don't hog him. First of all, you can't hog a person. Unless that person is a hog. God, I wish other people could take a peek inside my head sometimes. It's always so hilarious in here. You say that, but the two of you are always together. Surely not always. I don't know, you guys are hanging out more often than not. But then again, your entire group of friends seems to be so ridiculously close to each other. I'm surprised you even managed to weasel his way in. Honestly, sometimes I am too. It was so seamless that I didn't even notice it till it happened. He just fits in too well. I think he's just sort of people that everyone likes. Which is weird that I think about it. I remember him telling me that he didn't really have friends in his old school. Really? I find that a little hard to believe. Why wouldn't someone like him? Now that I think about it, that's true. Why wouldn't he have had friends in his old school? When I think about it, I don't really know all that much about him before he moved here, do I? It's not just the illness, which at this point is very obvious he has but refuses to talk about. He's super vague about anything relating to his past. It can't be just me that thinks that's weird, right? But he's also super prickly over being asked about it. That's a funny joke, Amethyst. I already got the punchline. Ugh, it's such a headache. I called it! You there? I feel like I've been talking for the past couple of minutes and you haven't listened at all. Oh, sorry, what were you saying? I said that I just remembered it and asked if you'd seen the J Games Con last week. There was this new announcement there. Sometime later, the bell rings in the middle of Shima-sensei's lecture on the 5 greatest generals in feudal Japan. The buck sighs, quickly writing an assignment on the board. For our next class, I want you all to write a paper on the most influential figures in the Sengoku period. Make sure not to stray from the pre-established guidelines on academic research you were given last month. I will see you all then. He quickly grabs his belongings and walks out of the classroom. Students quickly turn around in their seats, taking the opportunity to chat while waiting for the next teacher to arrive. We're supposed to be having modern literature class now, which isn't exactly the most exciting. It's actually a little odd that the teacher isn't here already. She tends to always be really punctual. After a couple of minutes, the sound of the door being slid open causes all students to straighten their back and turn around to look forward. But instead of the door at the front of the classroom being opened, it is instead the back door that the sound originates from. June walks into the classroom, freezing for a second once he notices all the eyes on him. That's not normal. Hi, Renpai, error. He quickly mouths off an apology to any who still have their eyes on him, fidgeting a little from all the attention suddenly gathered on him before walking to his seat. As soon as he comes closer, I begin to notice how his eyes look a little unfocused. His fur is slightly matted and there are bags under his eyes which are really hard to notice due to him having stripes so close to them. Is everything okay? You don't look so good. Huh? Oh, right, yeah, it's fine. I just woke up feeling a little weak this morning. His voice is weak, almost as if he's laboring to even speak in the first place, coming out much softer than usual. A little weak? That's the opposite of being okay. What happened? The fatigue just started catching up to me a little bit. Just fatigue? You look like you're about to drop. It's not that bad. I just look a little worse for wear since I didn't spend as much time getting ready in the morning. Getting ready? You're not a girl. I still need to take good care of myself. Brushing my fur takes a lot of energy and I just didn't feel like it. So that's all it is? You just didn't put much effort into getting ready in the morning? Yeah. Then how come you were so late you missed the first period? These words are cut off by the sound of the door being opened once again, this time coming from the front of the class. Katsuragi-sensei walks in, quickly excusing herself before stepping towards the teacher's desk. Good morning. I'm sorry for the short notice, but Hakumo-san had to step out due to an emergency, so I'll be teaching this class today in her stead. I have here a list with her class plan for today. Please open your textbooks to page 241. June mouths off a quick "we'll talk later" before quickly digging into his bag for his textbook. Sometime later, the bell finally rings for the end of the fourth period, announcing the start of lunch break. Students break in a cheerful and bubbly conversation as the initial commotion of people either leaving for the cafeteria or reorganizing their desks to eat together resolves itself. I look to June, seeing the tiger pulling a disposable plastic box with a convenience store lunch still wrapped on the plastic inside. That's what you're having for lunch? What is the food you usually bring? Well, I'm the one who usually makes my own lunches. Since I went to bed early last night, I didn't make any for today. His brow keeps twitching all the time, and every now and again he just freezes with all the muscles in his face contracting as if he just felt something out of nowhere. You look awful. That's kind of a mean thing to say. You know that's not what I meant. You look like you're really not doing well. He straightens himself up on his chair, although even the way he moves is a little weird. It's like he can barely put strength in his limbs. His legs shake a little under his own weight when he attempts to quickly get up and readjust himself on this chair. You're being dramatic. I'm just a little tired. Come on, don't give me that crappy excuse. You don't look good. I just need to eat a little bit and I'll feel better. Maybe you should go to the doctor's office instead. You worry too much, Yuichi-san. I appreciate the sentiment, but seriously, I'm fine. Even if he says so, the corners of his mouth twitch while he attempts to keep the smile on his face. Really? You're not going to faint on me or anything, are you? No! I'm not going to faint. Morning. Whoa, that's a very unenthusiastic greeting for you. Well, I don't always feel full of energy. June is the same way. I wonder if it's something in the water. Oh, wow, he's right. You look like hell. Thanks? Well, wait, I didn't mean it like that. Saya grabs a chair and spins it around, taking a seat next to the tiger and pressing her hand against his forehead. You don't seem to have a fever. Why is everyone fussing over me today? Sorry, I didn't mean to. Just wanted to make sure you're okay. Did something happen? I could ask the same thing. You really don't have your usual energy today. Yeah, this has been a stressful week. It's hard to be cheerful at times like these. Same here. God, this is painful to watch. The two sound like they've both done 30 bouts against a pro wrestler and are trying to pretend like they're fine. Don't ask me how I came up with that metaphor, it just popped into my mind. Something happened to you, Saya? Midterm week is always stressful, and then a friend of mine was kinda down, so I spent a lot of time worrying about him and kinda trying to cheer him up a bit. Is that why you couldn't join us on Friday? Yeah. Wait, you told me in a message that you couldn't join because you had a shift. Well, I did have a shift, but I know that friend from work, so I was able to keep an eye on him anyway. Sounds like a really packed schedule. It was. Saya makes a sharp noise, her eyes immediately locking on something that I can't see. She leans forward a bit, her face just a few inches from June's. What is going on? She reaches forward with her hand, touching a spot on June's forehead, and... Ow! He nearly falls back, jumping away from her hand and yelping in pain. What the... Hey, what happened to your forehead? You got a big bruise on it. He rubs the spot she had just touched, his eyes twitching from the pain. With him now rubbing it, I catch a quick glimpse under the fur and notice that, truly enough, there is a small bump on his forehead that has tinted the skin underneath a deep purplish color. It's not a big deal. I just hit my head. Hit your head? How did you even manage that? I kinda wasn't really paying attention where I was going for a couple reasons. I ended up walking face first into the lamppost when I was going back home from the grocery store yesterday. What? Sai's eyes go wide, staring at the tiger in stunned silence. I'm just going to steal Sai's line and ask it again. How the hell did you manage to do that? I had other things going on at the time, and I just wanted to get home as quickly as possible. Come on, let's not make a big deal out of nothing. It was just a silly accident. No, that's a little bit... This is the second time in a short time where he somehow manages to injure his head. I'm starting to wonder if this is a common occurrence. Maybe that's why he seems to have a screw loose all the time. Just be careful you don't walk into traffic one of these days. Of course not! Don't be ridiculous! Just then, the last member of our senior group walks into the room. Hey, there you are. You haven't said a word all weekend. Good morning to you, too. Right, good morning. Morning, Shoichi-san. Morning. These are the most depressing greetings I've ever heard. What's happened to you guys? You all look and sound like you're dead inside. What do you want us to say? The past week or so has been really exhausting for a lot of reasons. At least the two of us just look like we're tired. June-kun really looks like he's sick. I'm not sick! She's right, though. I think that's the kindest thing I could say, is that you look out of it, and even that would be putting it mildly. You look really out of it, too, and I'm not saying anything about it. Shoichi might look tired, but you look downright... What is this, Misery Olympics? Are you guys seriously competing to see who's doing worse? Why does it matter? You all look terrible. I cut them off, not wanting their discussion to go on any longer. If I let them, I'm sure they're going to have to continue arguing for 5 minutes over this, and I really don't have the patience for that. That was uncalled for. Hey, June-kun, are you alright? You're barely even picking at your food, let alone eating. Out of nowhere, June smashes his fist on the table, making the three of us jump a little with shock. I wish everyone would stop asking me that. Has it crossed your mind that I might just not be hungry? Sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. Like he just realized what he did, June immediately lowers his gaze, looking down at his food. He takes a deep breath, placing the lid back on top of his lunchbox and meekly pushing it away. Maybe you're right. Maybe I am a little out of it. I think you should go to the doctor's office if you're feeling sick. I already told him that. He ignored me. It's fine, I just need to rest a little once the day is over. It's not like the doctor would be able to do anything about it anyway. How can you know that? Have you been like this before? Well, I guess you could say my body is a little frailer than most. I just have a hard time dealing with constant fatigue. Just fatigue? But aren't you... As soon as he sees the change in June's expression, the husky trails off, not finishing his sentence. Yeah, you're probably right. Just make sure you get some rest after you're done for the day, okay? Whoa, you changed your mind really quickly. What else can you do? He's the only person who can know how he's feeling. If he says he's fine, then you can't really disagree with him, can you? But, besides, if anything happens, Yuichi's right here to take care of him, right? Why me? You two already spend a lot of time together. You probably know June better than any of us here. She'll drag him away by force if you feel he's not doing well. Isn't that a lot of responsibility to put on me? Also, that's a really grim scenario. But man, my mood's really gotten down here all of a sudden, hasn't it? Do you think you can still sit through class, June? I already told you I'm fine, Yuichi-san. Please stop pushing. Despite the smile on his face, I noticed the fur on the back of his neck prickling up dangerously. His tail lashes erratically behind him in a very obvious manner. Despite his attempts to act like nothing is bothering, his deteriorating mood is clear to see. Yeah, you're right. Hey, by the way, how did you guys spend your weekends? Anything interesting? I decided that a tactical retreat is the best option for now. Not least of all because I don't want an angry tiger breathing down my neck for the rest of the day. There is still a lot of time before class ends. Huh? Where did that come from? I mean, I spent most of it organizing my schedule at work for the rest of the month. Also checked in on a friend a few times. I just stayed home. Really? You need better ways to spend your time, man. I didn't really feel like going out. Oh, did something happen? No, I'm fine. Liar! Hold on. Shoichi, you're a liar. Shoichi, you're being a major liar, pants on fire. Shoichi, you are being a liar, pants on fire. And you need to stop being that. Seriously. Stop being a liar, pants on fire. Your pants are on fire, Shoichi, because you're a fucking liar. Hey, yo! Oh, yeah, no, that's not allowed. Yeah. Anyways. I swear to God, all of you keep repeating about just how fine you are, but this feels more like a funeral procession instead of a laid-back lunch. Right, of course you're fine. Everyone's always fine. What about you, June? Do anything fun this weekend? June? Is he ignoring me right now? Hey, I just remember K-kun saying something about how his band wanted to sign up for some kind of competition that was going to happen in town for a while. That's interesting, right? Oh, yeah, totally. What else did he say? Maybe we should call him up and ask. Good idea. Maybe we should. Yoshihara usually uses his lunch break to eat and study alone in the library. He'll probably have his phone turned off. Huh? He does? How do you know that? Because I talk to people and I ask them things. Besides, he barely has any friends outside of us, and he doesn't have lunch with us because of the great difference. What did you think he was doing? I don't know. I never really thought about it. Of course you didn't. You and Yuichi both have your heads up in the clouds after all. Hey, why are you bringing me into this? You're the one who said to call him. Clearly you didn't know either. I mean, I give up. Even though Saya and I are doing the best we can to try and steer the conversation back to normality, even Shoichi's working against us for some reason. Both him and June just stare into space with blank expressions and refuse to engage at all. The mood around us is gloomier than it has ever been before. It feels like a heavy, dark shroud hanged above us the entire time. Just thinking about it, I could feel shivers running up my spine every now and again. A few hours later, I sit in silence, staring at June scribbling something down on his notebook without saying a word. The bell rang a few minutes ago, and yet he's still copying down the information that was written down on the board. A lot of students have already cleared out of the classroom, heading to their respective clubs now that club activities have resumed. I myself should be heading to my own right about now, as should June, but I really wanted to head home right now. Today's just made me feel really uneasy in general, and I can't quite put my finger on the why. Eventually he finishes his copying and begins silently packing his things away in his bag. Suppose you're heading home now, right? Want me to walk you to the gate before I head to practice? No need. I'm going to practice a little in the music room. What? But you should Before I can even finish speaking, the look on his face makes me bite down on my tongue. June getting legitimately mad isn't something that happens often, so seeing such an angry look on his face catches me by surprise. Won't you stop that? How many times do I need to tell you that it's fine? I'm just worried about you. You look really pale and weak. You barely even touched your food at all, and you look like you're in pain. I look like I'm in pain? How would you even tell? You don't know what I'm feeling. Well, maybe not, but I'm not a child. I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself. He nearly jumps out of the chair and onto his feet. Almost immediately, his knees buckle. I try reaching out to grab him, but he slams his hand down on his table and stabilizes himself, pushing me away. It's fine. I just got up too fast and got a little dizzy. Why are you being so stubborn? You're clearly not fine. You're the complete opposite of fine. You've looked like you were about to drop since this morning, and you just keep getting worse. Even your lips are turning white. They are? He reaches with his hand toward his face, hesitantly touching his lip with the tip of his middle finger, as if he could see the color of his lips by touching it. Yes, they are. You're obviously not doing well. Stop being so fucking stubborn and making trouble for everyone else. Go get some goddamn rest before I have to drag you by the tail. June sits back down on his chair, all the energy completely draining from his face. His shoulders sag as he hunches forward, looking down at his feet. Okay. Okay? Wait, really? Just like that? I'll do whatever you say. What? What the hell did I say that worked this well? Was the threat of dragging him by the tail? I need to remember this for future reference. That's surprisingly agreeable of you. Sorry, I didn't mean to be such a pain in the ass. I'm not going to say that it's fine, but we'll work on it. Just be a little more mindful of your health. Right. So, you're being serious, right? You'll do what I say? Yeah. Man, you don't look happy about it at all. I'm not, but I don't want to cause problems either. And you won't snap at me for telling you to rest? I promise I won't. Alright. Huh. This turned around pretty quickly. Good job, me? I don't want to see you looking so down, though. Is there anything I can do to help cheer you up? You're asking me that after threatening to drag me away against my will? I didn't think you'd look so sad when I finally got you to agree with me. I'm not sad, just a little upset. That's the same thing. Why were you being so stubborn anyway? Well, I need to keep practicing for my next competitions. If I mess up now, I'll lose my opportunity to go to Germany forever. So you're just going to work yourself until you drop? How's that healthy? Is this why you look so worn out? Did you rest at all during the weekend? You looked fine when I left you on Friday. I was okay, I suppose. Last week was really tiring and stressful for me, but I managed to keep it together until the end of exams. Hang on. No. June? June? You are obviously not doing well. Like, oh my god. But we got him to agree. I didn't realize just how much strain I'd put on my body until I got home and could rest. As soon as I dropped my guard and relaxed, it hit me hard and started flaring up again. Flaring up? No matter what you say, no one should be this frail. A single week of school exams shouldn't be all it takes to make you this weak. Did you even sleep or eat at all over the weekend? Of course I did. Really? What's with the questioning? I swear I'm not lying. If you say so. Still very suspicious, though. This guy's already shown a complete disregard for his health or his limits. Part of me can't help but think that he spent most of the weekend glued to the piano like the dumbass that he is. Man, I'm salty right now. Come on, we should get going. Do you need help to get up? If you say I'm fine one more time, I swear to God, I'm going to smack you so hard you won't be able to sit properly for a week. Where are you going to be smacking? Even if it's just for a second, June gives me a standard June-esque answer. Just that is enough to bring a smile to my face. Don't come close to me! I don't like that look on your face! Don't worry, I'm not really going to hit you. Oh, thank God! Wait, where are we going to begin with? Do we want to take him to the doctor's office or his home? I guess we're going home. Come on, we're taking you home. You need to rest right now. Okay. He gets up from his seat without making another fuss. Looks like he's finally listened to reason. Or at least to me. I walk up to the tiger, crouching a little until I'm eye level with him. What are you doing? You can't possibly think I'm letting you walk all the way home on your own, right? Lean on me. There's no need. You're exaggerating. You can tell me that there's no need when you're even able to stand on your own. Your face is pale as all hell, and your legs are shaking. But, just hold on to me already and stop being so difficult. But people are going to stare at us. Almost on cue, I look around and realize that, sure enough, we already have quite a few eyes on us. I suppose our conversation just now wasn't the most silent one, so it's to be expected that we draw a little bit of attention. Oops. Don't mind them, just let them look. It's not a big deal. Easy for you to say. We make our way down the building and out at the and into the entrance. Just like June said, you get a few looks here and there. I suppose people do think it's weird to have two people borderline clinging to each other in public like this. Although with the way we're walking, I thought it'd be made obvious that he's leaning on me because he has trouble walking. Whoa, what are you two doing? A voice calls out from somewhere to our left, followed by the sound of hurried footsteps. It becomes clear that it was directed at us when a familiar panda jogged toward us, a big frown on his face. Are you alright? He stares at June, the worry clear in his eyes. Yeah, I'm fine. Yuichi-san is just exaggerating a little bit. The hell you're fine? You can barely stand properly. I can stand on my own just fine. Oh, really? Ah! I quickly pull my arms away from the tiger, thinking that he'd just stumble after being left on his own and grab me again. Instead, he falls right to the floor with a loud thud. Ah, don't just throw him down like that. I didn't throw him. Jeez, you're doing even worse than I thought. Are you alright? A little less alright than I was just now. He struggles to get himself up on his own, so I reach out to grab his arm and help pull him to his feet. They're just jealous. That was cruel, Yuichi-san. I was trying to prove a point. I didn't think you'd actually fall. I'm sorry. You're doing it that badly, then you really should rest. Do you want me to walk you home? Huh? I was already doing that. Oh, really? Don't you have club practice right now? Don't you? The panda nods. Well, yes, but it's not a big deal if I miss it today. Besides, I'd basically just be going home early myself if I did that. That's right. These two are neighbors, aren't they? So I suppose if he took June, he'd easily be able to go home after that. I don't live too terribly far from June either, but it's still about a 10-minute walk from his place to mine. Still, it's fine, I can take him home myself. Alright. The panda looks away, crossing his arms and grimacing. Did I do something wrong? You can come with us if you want, Sora-kun. It's not like the only one person can tag along. Ah, that's true. Huh, he perked up right away. But I kind of feel a little bitter about it. Is it bad that I wanted to do it alone? I don't even know why I suddenly thought that I wanted that. It's a good thing I saw you two while I was waiting around for one of my upperclassmen to show up. Otherwise, I'd already be at my club by now. Yeah, good thing indeed. I'm so very obviously lying. June playfully elbows me on the stomach, wearing a weary smile on his face that he's censoring me for the way I just said that. The panda seems none the wiser to it, however. I suppose June's just gotten used to the way I talk, so we can tell more easily. It takes us a little bit to finally get to June's house, especially considering how we had to walk slower to accommodate him. The panda says his goodbyes to us by the gate and heads inside his own house. There was barely any conversation on the way over, just painful, awkward silence. About halfway to June's house, the tiger just got tired of the looks we were getting on the streets and insisted he'd stop leaning on to me. I refused vehemently, but my objections were very quickly overruled. Instead, we compromised and the tiger held onto my wrist for the rest of the way home. Which to me is infinitely more embarrassing, but he somehow doesn't think so. Still, every time June would trip or groan, the panda nearly jumped over me to help him. I didn't even realize just how hard I was glaring at him at first until June quickly whispered something in my ear telling me to stop. And so I spent the rest of the trip trying to remain as neutral as possible. Do I need to pull up the sensor at all? The thought that I was feeling a little territorial over June is a very weird one, I have to admit. And yet somehow, for some reason, it happened. My parents aren't supposed to be home right now. Why don't you sit around for a little bit while I go get changed? Sure. The tiger quickly opens the door to his room and disappears behind it. I sit on a floor pillow by the kotatsu, twiddling my thumbs while I wait for him to come back. Should I even stay here any longer? If his parents aren't home. Yeah, I don't like the idea of him staying alone right now. I'll probably stick around until his parents come home to keep him company. And it's probably going to be for the best if I did so. I don't want to risk anything happening to him and his condition getting worse while he's all alone. Maybe I should have taken him to the doctor instead. The sound of the door closing snaps my attention back to reality. June walks up to me, taking a seat right next to me by the kotatsu. We sit around in silence right next to each other for a few minutes. Why does it feel so awkward all of a sudden? I'm sorry. Huh? What for? I kind of get the feeling that I'm intruding here. Huh? Why would you think that? I don't know. You just seem kind of tense and distant. I'm just having trouble coming up with things to say. When I'm feeling weak like this, it gets kind of hard to think. I feel kind of woozy and my head gets a little foggy. So you do admit that you're feeling sick. Is there even any point to denying it anyway? It's not like you'll believe me no matter what I say. I guess that's true. Besides, when you look as in pain as you do right now, there's no way anyone would ever believe you when you say that. So you don't mind me sticking around for a bit? Of course not, if anything. I'd rather you stay with me. Oh! Hesitantly at first, June reaches out with his hand and grabs onto the cuff of my jacket. He slowly pulls himself towards me, resting his forehead on my shoulder. Is this alright? His voice comes out really shaky and soft, almost like a whisper. This is definitely a compromising position. My heart races faster in my chest and all words escape me. I've never been good at coming up with answers when I'm put on the spot, but I also can't freeze up and do nothing again. In my mind, that one scene comes up in my memory. I don't want a repeat of that again. If I can't come up with anything to say, then I just won't say anything. Instead, I wrap an arm around the tiger's waist, pulling him even closer to me until the sides of our stomachs are touching. I can't even make eye contact right now. My face is just burning up so hot. God, this is embarrassing. How do couples do this sort of thing on a regular basis? And June and I aren't even dating, although I guess since I know he has a crush on me, it's hard not to remember that while I do this. How do I even feel about it? I really wish I knew so I could just have an answer already. I hate how indecisive I can be. When I'm alone, I can think about it a lot to the point where I'm almost sure I've come to an answer, and then as soon as I'm alone with him, my mind just scrambles again, and I can barely even hold a thought. This is pathetic. June makes a soft little sound that almost sounds like a middle ground between a coo and a squeal. The hand gripping me clutches my arm even tighter as he buries his face on me. I continue to hold his waist even though my hand is shaking. We sit around in silence like this, just enjoying each other's company. Or at least I hope he's enjoying this because I'm absolutely terrified right now. I really don't want to do or say anything wrong. Hey, Yuichi-san? Thank you. For what? Nothing. Huh? I don't think I follow. At least he seems to be in a better mood. Honestly, that by itself is already great, even if I don't understand what he's thinking of. I just had an idea. What is it? How about we go out together this weekend? Just you and me. Go out? Yeah, we can eat out together or take a walk in the park. I don't know, something fun that you'd enjoy. So, like a date? Wow, he jumped right on that. I can't promise it'll go anywhere, but yeah, you could see it that way. You and I will go on a date this weekend. How about that? I'd like that. The tiger fidgets a little against me, nuzzling against my shoulder and looking up at me with a smile. That expression of his is so lovely I can feel my face growing hot. I feel something fluffy curling around on my lap, and I realize that he's wrapped his tail around me. I feel frozen in place again. June opens his mouth still with that same damn smile on his face. I like you. I really, really like you, Yuichi. This is just not fair. If he says something like that while looking at me like this, then before I notice it, I begin leaning forward and towards it. The sound of the door lock echoes loudly in the otherwise silent room, and the two of us quickly jump apart. That's when Yui-san shows up at the doorway. She quickly sees the two of us sitting awkwardly, a comical distance apart from each other. It's a good thing she showed up when she did, otherwise, what was I about to do? Oh my, Yuichi-kun, I didn't know you'd be showing up. Hello there. Hi there, Yui-san. I'm sorry to show up without warning. I came over to walk June home. Walk him home? Oh, right. I forgot why I even came here in the first place. June's face immediately scrunches up once he realizes where this conversation is heading. Yeah, the truth is, June seemed to be doing really badly today. He looks just really pale and was even having trouble standing for the most part. He just seemed pretty out of it in general. As soon as his words leave my mouth, the tigress's gentle smile fades. She stares between June and I for a second, but the shock I'd expect from my words never comes. Instead, she just looks dead calm. June, let me take a look at you. She walks toward us, kneeling in front of June and placing a hand on his cheek. She examines him closely, checking the color on his skin under his fur, pulling his cheek, checking his eyes. So she's really accustomed to doing this. What were you feeling this time? Mom, this time? I'm sorry, Yuichi-kun. Really, thank you so much for bringing June home. You're right that he doesn't look too good. I think it's best if he rests for now. I'll take care of him now, so you don't have to worry. Even though her words were kind, her tone of voice made her real meaning very clear. Go home. I think she doesn't really want me around when he's sick. Right. I was just going to stick around until one of you arrived since I didn't want him to be alone. I'll leave now. The tigress smiles at me, cupping my cheek with her other hand and lightly stroking my fur. Thank you again. I really appreciate you looking out for him. He probably would have stubbornly stayed to practice on the piano if you hadn't brought him home. Oh yeah, I have no doubt about that. I get up on my feet, picking up my bag, which I dropped by the floor nearby to where I was sitting, and making a quick bow to excuse myself. I'll be going now. Thank you for having... Wait! June grabs me by the cuff of my jacket as soon as I try walking away, clutching it firmly. June, don't do that. You'll damage his clothes. Don't go. The tigress's eyes go wide as soon as the words escape his lips. Can't you stay with me a little longer? Please? My heart beats so fast, so hard and fast in my chest that I can hear it ringing in my ears. I feel as if all the blood has suddenly rushed to my face. Even Yui-san, when she comes out of the shock from hearing her son say something like that with such an embarrassed look on his face, smiles wryly and shakes her head sideways. I want to, but I also know Yui-san asked me in no uncertain terms to go. I can't just ignore her when it comes to our own home, but Which one? Do we want... Should I stay or should I go? Ooh, ooh, should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go? Oh, 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 oh. Yui-san, is it alright if I stay just a little bit longer? Promise I won't make any trouble. The tigress sighs, but the corner of her mouth still curve up slightly to a bitter smile. She takes one more look at her son's face before nodding. Of course, sweetie. I'll bake some cookies so we can all have a snack together. Make yourself at home. The tigress walks into the kitchen, leaving the two of us alone again. Thank you for staying. Hiya. Well, I couldn't quite say no when you were making that face, could I? I take a seat once again, this time making sure I'm on an opposite side of the table from June. I definitely don't want to risk whatever it was that nearly happened just now happening again. How come you wanted me to stay? Thought you'd want to just lie down and rest or something. I hate being at home at times like these. Parents always treat me, well, you saw. What? With warmth and affection? I'll just say it. I'm a June simp. June is my favorite FVN character, like, ever. He is my favorite. I love him. I love June. What torture that must be for you. Besides, having you around really helps to make me feel better. Really? How come? I ask a question to which I already know the answer of, trying to act clueless. You know why. Oof! I can't deal with this. He doesn't say anything particularly out there or anything, but it still strikes me where it hurts most. June, you're really, really terrible, and the worst part is you don't even know it. A few hours later, I'm writing down some ideas for what to do over the weekend. I don't want to just wing it and end up having a terrible time. Ha! Especially since June's really expecting a date out of it. Even if I don't really know where I stand on the whole thing, I want to give him a great day so we can make up for how badly he's been feeling all week. I suppose the exams really took a much bigger toll on him than I imagined. Come to think of it, he probably was really tired when we went out last Friday. Knowing how much he tries to put on a brave face so others won't worry about him, the dumb idiot was probably acting super energetic and cheerful for my sake. I hate how he does that. I'll make sure to give him peace of my mind and unload all my frustrations on him once he's finally feeling better. Just you wait for me, Kobayashi. We're gonna leave off here tonight. Yes, I remember that Phineas and Ferb episode. Yes, I do. This browser window keeps freezing. Ah. Ah, rawr, rawr. Anyways, stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.